Welcome back. It's your old buddy, the good old drum boy reads slow here. Yeah, your good old buddy who you couldn't have possibly known until like 4 months ago when I suddenly popped up on YouTube. But anyway, I gotta say, I've been watching some of the other content creators this slow month of creation on my own end. Apologies coming on that, by the way. But I've been watching some of these other creators, and I love the call to get the community back, get the community excited again. Is it a dying medium, these comics? I don't care. I don't care. The industry will evolve in the way it needs to evolve. It's a shame that there's talk. There being problems with the industry right now. It seems like people questioning whether DC's really as successful as they are right now. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. I care about the people who are creating, and I care about the people who are taking that creation and reading it and experiencing it and sharing their experience. I am so happy to see that call for community. Hey, this is, what is this, the 4th episode we're doing here? All right, the Drum Boy Reads Slow show. It's been a while. I do apologize. I'll get into that a little bit, but let's get to what this is going to be about. If you don't know, I like to do commentary or just a general reaction to physical media I'm reading, specifically comics. I'm going to be getting into books eventually again. It's been a while since I've read a novel. Big surprise, right? Anyway, so today, you know what? I've been catching up on some of the recent stuff, even some stuff from this past Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. We're gonna get into all that goodies. I got some kind words to say about, honestly, most of it. I'm pretty excited. These have been some highlights here for me. And then took an extra minute because I realized I was missing one of these, but So a few months back, as you can see, I did a episode of Joshua Williamson's GIJOE in the Energon universe, and I got up to issue 11 right before issue 12 was about to come out, and I had some I had some good things to say about it. Here's some of the things. Okay. Anyway, but I also said it was probably in the Energon universe the weakest title. So I'm all caught up, all the way up to issue 18 with Roadblock being introduced. I got through the Dreadnought War 5-parter. I'm all caught up, and I don't know. I might just have changed my opinion about this Joshua Williamson title. And because I had to delay my read-through of the G.I. Joe Energon universe catch-up, I ended up digging right on in to the Kaisei era universe of Godzilla. So I got Godzilla 1 through 6. Starship Godzilla, the first one I held up with the whitish cover, 1 through 4. And Escape the Dead Zone. Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. This is all from IDW. I got some strong words about these 3 titles. And yes, I am aware that issue 7 of Godzilla has come out. My shop didn't have it for whatever reason. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm hoping that they'll make that right. Otherwise, I'll just have to catch up on that. And our as promised feature on my last episode, Batman Dark Patterns. This was supposed to be read ahead of my year-end show, but I did not want to rush it. I did not want to force it. I was really excited about this title, and you know what? Spoiler alert, I got some glowing remarks about it. I'm so glad I did this in just one nice, crisp read one afternoon. And it was a real experience. I'm actually really excited to tell you what I actually thought of that. Could have very easily been in my, top 3 of 2025. So let's hear it for that title. we also got just these one at a time, or in a few cases. Well, no, I think everything's pretty much a one issue catch up. But anyhow, we got Spawn: The Dark Ages. Well, anyway, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's just get into the reviews here. So I do apologize. I've been a little frazzled lately, but so Spawn: The Dark Ages. I read issue 1 of this, and I did a short on this, and I had nothing but glowing things to say. It was my pick of the week that week. I really appreciated the authenticity. I've heard a criticism for this title being that the language used is a little too dense with, I guess ancient Scottish, terminology, where it's almost, some people are kind of complaining that it's a rough read. For me, that, I'm a pretty slow reader, but with artwork like this, I'm willing to sit there and kind of pick at it for a minute, and I'm following along, and I really like it. I really do. And so we're on issue 2, and issue 2 only cements how much I think this is an awesome little mini. And I mean, I would really like to see this series actually go on a lot further than 6 issues, but I will settle for the 6. I want to see how this plays out. But to me, this just reeks of, like what I like about say like Conan the Barbarian, for example. I'm getting what I want out of, what I crave out of Conan. This is actually possibly an even better representation of what me as an absorber of other people's ideas and their creativity, and a fan of Spawn, honestly, probably since I began being a comic fan, is one of the comics that really hooked me, along with X-Men and Spider-Man. I'm so excited to see the remainder of these 6 issues. This is all almost all one guy too. Forgive me. Well, here, you'll have to forgive me because this was a new writer and artist, to my understanding, and colorist. This was almost a one-man project, if not for lettering and alternate covers. But this is so cool. So this is Liam McCormick Sharp, responsible for everything. Color me a lifetime fan forever, just based off of these 2 issues. I am so excited. I know I'm repeating, but I am so excited for issue 3. 5 out of 5. You gotta get into this. If you're not collecting it, get it. All right, time for some more. Very, very, very happy comic fan. I was so worried when they announced that Jason Aaron was going to wrap up with issue 12 of TMNT, and that was going to be it. And that, what was it? Javier Rodriguez? Oh, gosh, I wish I brought out one of the, well, anyway, the team, up to, so issue 6 through 12, when they kind of cemented everything all together, that was like the perfect Turtle comic, or so I thought. I'm sitting here on issue 14 of TMNT, and I'm looking at page to page, and I'm just getting more and more of this, that nostalgia magic. Gone is the general dark tone of that previous arc, and what we have here is something kind of it's almost like the perfect mixture of the original animated series, and I don't know. I mean, maybe the first movie. It's just the perfect team right now. So Gene Luen Yang and Freddie E. Williams II are just pitching an absolute perfect game here, and I cannot say enough good things about this. The story's really picking up. The stakes are rising, and I honestly don't know where things are gonna go, but I'm really hooked. I mean, this is a very warm, turtley title, and I'm so excited that I've been picking it up since the reboot. You know what? good things come to people who are patient enough to wait for them, and that's where I'm at on that. I love my ongoings that are kicking butt. Also, I had a chance to catch up on issue 28, and I also got 2 other variant covers popping up on the screen there. But we got issue 28 of Transformers in the Robert Kirkman run. So now he's doing both Void Rivals and Transformers, and we got Dan Moore on art. I loved this issue. If you're familiar with the title, if you're not familiar with the title, Transformers matters. All right, it honestly, like, if you think, oh man, like where are the stakes in it? They're just a bunch of robots. Trust me, get reading. You know, go all the way back, you know, to issue 1 with Daniel Warren Johnson's run, and I assure you, the change-up of team does nothing at all to hurt the comic, and the stakes are unbelievable. Transformers is my 2025 title of the year, by the way. I could not get enough of the ongoing Transformers. Here is another ongoing, I mean, to me, Infernal Hulk is just the continuation of the Incredible Hulk, picking up where Volume 4 ended and left off. But actually, I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind if this Infernal Hulk story traveled for a bit. Philip Kennedy Johnson is a writer who, I guess, you know, has slipped under my radar up until this recent conclusion of the Incredible Hulk volume and the entrance into this. And Nick Klein, I mean, he pretty much encapsulates what I love about comic art to a T. And then there's this whole horror aspect. And so with Hulk, there is one issue with the mainline story going on him, is that the art, it's not always Nick Klein, and sometimes it can be a little bit jarring it from issue to issue, and that absolutely has followed the team into the Infernal Hulk issue 3 especially. There is a big change of art. Worry not. All right, I'm here. If you have not been covering, or you have not been following this, if the art was a turnoff for you the last time around, the story is so dark and brutal and just straightforward. There is no, you know, beating around the bush on anything. It's cleverly done. Honestly, most of this issue is another artist being rotated in. There is a little bit of Nick Klein, but wow, like. The Philip Kennedy Johnson's writing is just so on point. He understands comics, and I mean, this one just flowed, just like the last 2 issues. To be honest, the story is only picking up, and I cannot wait to see more. This has been my a comic I was totally sleeping on, and to be honest with you, like, shame on me, but that's been rectified, and I suggest you do the same. Please get on Infernal Hulk immediately. You don't have to. You could pick up like issue 30, the last issue of Incredible Hulk. You really don't need any more than that to get on this run. Yeah, 5 out of 5. Absolutely 5 out of 5. These have all been 5 out of 5s. That's why I'm featuring them. Geiger I'm not going to give it a 5 out of 5, issue 20 here, but I did enjoy it a lot, and I do enjoy how the unnamed universe is starting to have those crossover events between the titles, and this is one example of that. I don't want to spoil anything, but Tariq encounters the Northerner. I gotta say, the interaction is it goes a little differently than I thought it might. The dynamic between the two of them is interesting. I know it's the same writer, so it's pretty cool. Much different dynamic than the Northerner had with the Simon Pure over on Redcoat, but the overall tone of this book continues to be really good. This was not the strongest issue, and neither was the previous issue. That being said, Geiger is such a good title, and the whole Ghost Machine universe, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. They're heavy hitters. I'm gonna give this like a 4 or like a 3.75. But I mean, Geiger's average is through the roof. And then finally, this was a little bit too Robert Downey Jr. for me. But this is Joshua Williamson, who I have some glowing words about. Ooh, spoiler. On another title that we're going to be doing here. And so we have the reboot, yet again, of Ironman. And you know what? When I'm heading out to the store, it's about a 30-minute drive to my location where I do my pickup each week. I'm just too impatient. I gotta hold the physical media in my hands. You know, that's how you know I love it. I even have a pull box and everything, and it's like, no, I don't trust them. I gotta be there right at open. And I listen to other content creators. Some of y'all got the jump on me. And that's fine with me, because I'm just here to have fun and weigh in, and you know, like I said, the community. And anyhow, Iron Man 1 Legacy 681, and there's a new team being introduced. And like I said, if you're familiar with the first movie, or any of the movies, or the way that, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is who's Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr. No, it's Tony Stark. I remember versions of Tony Stark that, you know, it felt like like the fictional character still, and not like the embodiment of the actor who injected himself into the character. I thought the first movie was all right, but anyway, you'd almost be fooled in the opening pages of this that you're almost being shown the movie in a comic format. But anyhow, they kind of swerve you a little bit, but not really. It just basically feels like the MCU universe. Anyhow, I'll probably get issue 2, but this was more like a 2.5 for me. Don't get me wrong, it was executed all right. It felt really rudimentary. Maybe is the word I'm looking for. It just felt basic. But speaking of basic, I got 2 comics from this past week, or this past Wednesday, I should say. That would be Archie versus the Army of Darkness and Dork. These were kind of surprises out of left field. Surprised I grabbed them up, but I don't know. I kind of had I've been trying to limit, myself a little bit with the buying. It's not an easy economic time. I know a lot of people are struggling, but honestly, they just kind of both piqued my imagination. So I'll start with Archie and the Army of Darkness. I'm surprised, but like it, as simple a world as Archie is, Archie's universe. This just felt like I was reading like a demented version of like Happy Days or something. And I'm not the biggest Archie fan. I got a few books here and there, but this spoke to me. This obviously takes place as I've said, in Archie's universe. This doesn't look like like an Army of Darkness comic at all, which is so funny. But we're introduced to Ash, and some lunacy is going on, and it's getting wild, and the execution's great. It's a fast read. I'd say if you did not pick it up this Wednesday, maybe go back and just grab it. Just grab it. It'll be a fun little novelty. If you ever liked the Army of Darkness, so I guess that was number 3, Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. You will probably enjoy this. You will. And then with Dork, this was a surprise. The cover got me in, but I gotta say, in the opening pages, I was kind of like, this might be, a comic I rip into. This is kind of lame. The humor felt a little bit, if I could describe it, like the late 90s, like webtoons and webcomics, like they're trying to be like edgy, or just random. And with this is more on like the edgy side. Late 90s, early 2000s, I should say. I forget what the names, but they got memed to hell, and yeah. But you know what? By the end of the issue, I'm kind of interested. The writer here, Brett Bean, and the artist Jean Francois. That's a hard word. That's a hard last name. Bolu. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. But they made a pretty good team. But like I said, it was a little bit cringe with the humor. I definitely, but maybe that was the point. But yeah, again, kind of like a 1-2 punch. I just kept getting drawn more and more in, even though it was like the situation kind of seemed like more and more like this isn't even believable. Not even like in cartoon world. But I'm gonna buy issue 2 because honestly, by the end of it, I was like I don't even know what this comic is trying to be, but it's funny, and the direction, the panels, everything. I mean, I just honestly, it's $3.99. Just give it a shot. I'll give it like a 3.5 out of 5, maybe. Okay. Let's get into the bigger read-throughs here, the bigger catch-ups. I want to definitely talk about these ones and get people caught up if they have not been reading them. All right, so first we got the catch-up all the way up to the current issue of G.I. Joe Energon Universe. First of all, issue 12, so awesome. I forget her name. Maybe it'll come back to me. But a character is introduced. We finally find out what this secret mission with Beachhead and I forget the other two's names, what they've been up to. But they've been trying to break this character out of a prison situation. Really cool introduction to this character. But that ultimately led into the Dreadnought War. When I was reading issues 1 through 11, I kind of I don't know. It was like I had an issue with like the stakes not being high enough or something like that. It just wasn't the strongest Energon Universe title to me, and for me, it was like those 4 miniseries that they did were honestly better than the mainline title once it started. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, before G.I. Joe number 1, there was Duke 1 through 5, Cobra Commander 1 through 5, and then Destro and Scarlet, both 1 through 5, and they were all really good, and they led into the series in such a dramatic way. Well, Dreadnought War 1 through 5 was basically Joshua Williamson basically like going back to that amazing Duke run he did, and that amazing I believe he did the Cobra Commander as well. Forgive me if I'm mistaken on that. I definitely didn't take enough notes for this episode, as you can see. But yeah, the Dreadnought War was unbelievable. Showed a side of Cobra Commander that he was, like a sense of honor. But, basically the premise is Duke and Cobra Commander get stranded in a remote area with no ability to contact their respective factions for any kind of assistance or help, and they team up and they are basically just surviving the Dreadnoughts, and it's so cool. You see why they're both the respective leaders of their respective factions and what they're kind of packing as warriors. I highly, 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 highly recommend this title. It's gone from a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10 title for me. On my, like a stringent, I have to be a curmudgeon. It's as good as Transformers. Let's just be honest. It's as good as Transformers, and man, that got my blood pumping. So yeah, all those issues, 5s out of 5s, perfect. They should have been the picks of the week, their respective week. I just was kind of compiling because I like to do read-throughs all sequentially, and have a nice. It's just how I do. And then we finally had Roadblock come in, and this is just an all around fun issue, just a nice fast read. I'm into it. I'm looking forward to what's next. I do believe we had a little bomb drop at the end of this issue. But yeah, wow. I take back what I said about the first 11 issues. I'm all caught up all the way to 18, and this title is a thoroughbred. Sorry. So, now, let's get in to the Kaisei universe. I don't know why I gave you crazy eyes there. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Godzilla 1 through 6. You know what? Alright, I got Godzilla 1 sitting here at the bottom of this stack. Anyhow, let's just go ahead and look at them. Alright, so we got Godzilla. As you can see from, the covers, there's kind of like a wild, almost, like a quasi-American anime animation kind of mashup. Oh, like that. And I gotta say, it was a little bit kind of the same pace you would imagine too. It definitely felt like a cartoon, a rapid-paced cartoon. Best description I can give you is it feels like a kind of like an edgy superhero team, like maybe like Youngbloods or something like that. And they acquire a individual who's almost like, I don't want to say like he's Goku, but he's basically like Goku. And this individual has gained this, ability to basically be on a competitive level with Godzilla himself. Godzilla's in the comic. I don't know if he's going to remain in the comic. Kind of a interesting conclusion to the 6-issue arc that I did read. But I don't know. It grew on me. I mean, it definitely, the title grew on me. The more I read, it endeared itself to me. It's wild, artistic style, the action-based style. There's a lot of movement going on. Sometimes it was kind of hard to, depict what was being depicted. But I liked it. Definitely the weakest of the three. Godzilla not nearly featured enough, but there's other kaiju involved. Actually, the world seems pretty overrun with kaiju in this universe. But this was my initial introduction to the Kaisei universe. I read all 6 without touching any of the other titles. I would find out, even though it had endeared itself to me, that it was the weakest of the 3. I'm going to go ahead. I'll give the Kaisei Godzilla run so far. It's a solid, 7 out of 10. It's good. It's worth your time. But you're not going to, die, incomplete or anything. It's not on your must reads. It's on your, hey, I like Godzilla or I like anime and I just want something new and fresh, because this universe is something fresh. And my first true understanding of that, this might be one of the most original titles I've seen in a while. And what's funny is in issue 1, it seemed so one-dimensional. But what I speak of is Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. So I got 1 through 5 here. All the covers kind of have the same. Well, actually, not cover 2 so much. Well, yeah, you just can't see it, but they all have this same kind of thematic thing with how the title's presented with that little. But I that's kind of what drew me in. And the artwork that is on the cover is exactly what you're getting inside, which is, that's a big deal to me. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I love when the artwork on the cover actually matches the artwork in the pages and in the panels. So with Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone, issue 1 kind of introduces the premise that this is a section of America, Seattle, I believe, if my memory serves right, that has been destroyed by Godzilla, and the Kaisei energy left behind has really mutated a lot of the people that are too stubborn to leave the area. And the outside world actually doesn't even know, it's later revealed, doesn't even know that there's people trying to continue to exist in this area. And so long and so forth, we are introduced by means of like some of these inhabitants of the area just kind of having a discussion about this shadowy figure that has a tail known as the Wanderer. And that's who's depicted here on this issue 1 cover. So we actually end up meeting the Wanderer in that issue, and kind of just like, okay, wasn't that impressive. And honestly, I heard actually more reviewers say that. But the week issue 2 dropped, I was amazed how much praise this comic got, and I kind of had to go back and check out both issues based on the some of the things that were getting said about issue 2. And I kind of forgot as I've been compiling this title, I kind of forgot what was said, and it kind of came back to me as I was paging through issue 2. I was like, first of all, we're introduced to 2 new characters. One of them endeared herself to me immediately. Just the funniest character ever. They're 2 children with special abilities, and with them, we're introduced to why this comic is so interesting and cool. Without trying not to spoil too much, our 2 children are capable of just basically mentally locking together with any kaiju, and they can, like a kaiju, their heart or this port just opens up on their body, and they can enter the kaiju and then just take over its body. And the rules of this little thing aren't fully 100% clear to me, but it seems like after they're done with a kaiju, like they step out. In a lot of cases, the kaiju dies. So it's a pretty interesting concept, the introduction of these 2 characters, and then honestly just the dynamic built between the Wanderer and this little girl, one of these 2 twins. She named herself Glass Eater. She's so funny. She's the best part of the book so far. So anyway, it gets even more wild from there. But the dynamic, the everything, it's funny. There's high stakes. It's the original. Every issue is just like, whoa, like I can't believe I just read this. So that's what a comic can do to you. Is show you a piece of art through a lens you never expected to see, and the fact that this is a Godzilla comic, just so cool. It's so cool. I was skeptical. I was like, I'm not gonna read any of that stuff. That sounds so weird. And it ends up being some of the best stuff that I didn't get to include on my 2025 year-end list. This should have been there. This was awesome. And the same must absolutely be said. Oh, and this is what's beautiful about all these 3 titles. I gotta say, they're all their own thing. And I say that too, like with any other Godzilla, content you've ever seen. It's in that universe, but these writers are doing their own thing, and it's awesome, and it's fresh, and it's original. And Starship Godzilla is no different. I absolutely love this title. We got Chris Gooch and Oliver Ono on this. It's not just one influence that I see here reflected, but this has got a really, really, really awesome art style and art direction, and how they do the panels, everything, all the action is so cool. Very, it's got like almost like a Cowboy Bebop. I'm sure I'm like the 5,000th, reviewer saying exactly that. But no, yeah. I mean, this has got like definitely a space, you know, pirate or space bounty hunter kind of feel to it. And to be honest, I mean, I believe that's what they are, bounty hunters. But you got the spaceship that is basically Mecha Godzilla, and all I can say is again, this is, you know, despite it, you know, the obvious comparison that I've made. And there's another anime that's kind of like that I've seen that I just can't remember the name. I mean, I'm sure they're all, you know, influenced by each other, but the general tone of this is just fast-paced storytelling and just very, very, very vivid art. The concept is cool, you know, kind of like the hijinks in space kind of feel that you got maybe from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, not the other crappy reattempts at you know, hitting that piggy bank a few more times. But I gotta say, like, it's a toss-up between this and Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. This title's come out a little bit slower than the other two. It's an issue behind, but I have to say, if you have not, you need to. You absolutely need to. All 4 issues, 5 out of 5ers for me. I know I sound like a shill. I really like, you know, looking at art through many different lenses and many artists' eyes. This is a hit in the making. I hope this goes on for like 20, 25 issues at least. This is so cool. I love it. All right. So, let's get to the... Oh, and that was the cover one that I did not show you of Godzilla. Anyway, so with Batman Dark Patterns, I gotta say, it wasn't what I was expecting. But right from get, I was just absolutely blown away by the art. Hayden Sherman is quickly becoming one of my favorites, I'm finding. I will say I really liked how this was broken up into 4. Well, I maybe I should preface it. This is 12 issues. This is done. It's a graphic novel. But they were broken up into 4 separate stories, 3-parters. And at first, when I heard that, it kind of disappointed me because I wanted one long, you know, story based on just the art alone. And the dark tone and everything that I sampled when I kind of paged through that first issue. You know what? You do get a long story. You get the whole thing. It's just very, very cleverly broken up. Dan Waters pitched a absolute shutout on this one. This was perfect. This was a absolute masterpiece. Was it the best thing I read in all of 2025? I mean, I think this might have started in 2024 too. But no, maybe not. But did it take me back to, you know, prior DC titles and prior runs that I consider, if not, you know, legendary by way of experiencing them, then must read by way of having sampled them. You know, I'm a little ways into the early days of Hellblazer, and that's one, for example, I just have to go back to and finish up. All the issues. I want to read them all. That's how I felt about my initial, the initial impact that made. I ended up going with Swamp Thing initially for my big read through when I was going back first, and you know what? You can only do one at a time. But Dark Patterns kind of had some of that feel for me, those early issues. I'm not sure quite why, but it really spoke to that same magic for me. What I can say, the main variable for me, maybe how John Constantine is not your typical hero. And this, you know, and this Batman's not your typical hero. You know, it's not your typical Batman. This is very street level. This is more like, you know, true crime, and Batman just happens to be in it. But there's a very, very cool thematic thing going on with all 4 arcs, and I want to get into that. I'm going to take a little sip of coffee before I do. Been weathering a bug, and that partly explains why I've been a little late on the material. And of course, you know, I'm not really writing scripts. I'm just reading books and sharing my thoughts. How was your week? Was it cold out by you? You stateside, or are you from around the world? You know, I'd like to hear in the comments where my viewers are calling in from. So with our first arc, we are introduced to a very, very, very interesting. I don't even know if I'd call him a villain. Just maybe more so like a very, very, very distraught man that has lost his mind and is going on a killing spree. But if you can see, well, of course I'll put the picture up on the screen. But the cover there is, you see all those nails rammed around that guy's eye socket. We're introduced to the Wounded Man. So We Are the Wounded is the first arc. And what's kind of more important here is that we're also introduced to a key player, actually possibly two key players. I can't remember if, there is a medical examiner who I don't remember from any Batman comics prior, who's introduced, who becomes basically like, you know, you got Batman, there's no Robin, there's no... One thing about this title, you're not going to get any of that crap with, like, you know, Batman's parents dying or any of that. Batman, he's at odds with the city that's always burning. There's a cool backstory thrown in, behind this whole story arc, with regards to a fire burning down old Gotham and all that. Right, the financial district being rebuilt. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to ruin anything, but with this medical examiner, Batman almost immediately has like an immediate distrust, and I don't think I'm ruining anything by saying that the medical examiner has like a kind of like a shady past, and he also has immediately Batman recognizes he has a substance abuse problem. But anyhow, the whole time you're kind of like, for at least me, I was like, but like he seems so like, you know, unassuming. He doesn't seem like a bad guy at all. You know, you kind of almost want him to become a character, but you don't have any of the the typical Batman tropes. You don't have Robin or Nightwing or any of that here. You got Batman, Commissioner Gordon, this medical examiner, and Alfred. Those are your key players, and you know what? I like it. I like how Dan Waters kept it really simple, and like I said, this is street level. So in the situation with the Wounded Man, we're introduced to a serial killer situation with a very unique, but this is, he has a very unique like like with the serial killers, they always have like a gimmick to him, but he's the new serial killer on the scene, and of course, Bruce figures out, things pretty quickly, and they start being able to track him. But there is an issue in that the man is basically got like all these like nails and stuff like pierced through his body, and he keeps saying that like he wants to feel something, and Batman recognizes that he can't strike this guy because he's gonna possibly kill him with one single lethal blow. What I love about this is that this story kind of was underwhelming to me, but it set the tone for the next three in a way that, well, when you get done with the fourth arc, you end up appreciating the first arc a lot more, and I'll just leave it at that. We then go into arc number 2. Wow, I had a lot of variant covers. And I particularly got hooked with this one. It's the ventriloquist, and it's not the ventriloquist. It's, well, who knows what it is. It's what's so cool about Dan Waters' writing here and his premise here is that he introduces a building that seems to have a spirit of its own. He reintroduces the ventriloquist, and he also ends up introducing a possible, third player in the game. And for me, this is where I ended up being like, I got sucked in, and I could not stop reading after this. This arc, this 3-issue arc, for me, was probably my favorite of the bunch. I was actually really surprised how ingenious this all came together. I don't want to ruin it too much. I've already thrown out too much. But this, again, it was kind of... Oh, and then I should say, in the previous arc, a bunch of nobodies from some, some old, like, isolated town beat the crap out of Batman. Like, when I say this is street level, like, this is street level. Like, Batman shows a lot of vulnerability in this. And it's very, like, yeah, welcome to the real world. Like, there's no power scaling, none of that, available in this. This is not, your typical Batman adventure that you'd see with the JLA or anything like that. But anyhow, I really liked the second arc, but now, like, you start to see connections. Obviously, the medical examiner is still part of the story. You're starting to see the ongoing war that Bruce is trying to wage against Gotham, just burning itself down in general. It's all starting to come together, and then that ends up leading us into arc number 3. Okay, so arc number 3 with Batman Dark Patterns is kind of like more representative of Bruce's kind of like almost descent into a little bit of a madness, in part due to this ongoing, war he's waging with the Gotham. And there's this metaphorical, it's always been on fire kind of thing going on, which is kind of cool, but because of how it plays out towards the end of the 4th arc. But the this arc is kind of setting up that Bruce has kind of run the gamut of, chasing that dragon a little too hard in his pursuit of a current case where he keeps reoccupying this impoverished area of Gotham, and he's following this lead based on a fire at a laundromat, an abandoned laundromat, and there's a body recovered from... It's just basically stuffed in a dryer, and the laundromat was set ablaze. And there is a story going on with this, and it is kind of cool how that story plays out. It's real dark. A lot of, just Batman kind of just going crazy, though. I mean, like, that's kind of what it is. He's like, patterns, and he's kind of losing it. And Alfred's trying to reach him, be like, you got to slow down. And, Bruce just isn't having it. And he ends up pushing himself, like, a little too far. Gets himself into a, precarious situation where he shouldn't have had to, because he just kind of kept chasing that lead. But ultimately, at the end of the arc, it just ends up being just real dark, and it's a perfect lead-in into the 4th and final arc, the beautiful conclusion. As we're getting into this final arc, the issue 10 through 12, what is kind of cool and what's getting set up is this Dr. Sika, this medical examiner. I believe that's his name. I guess I could check, but nah. I mean, I'm a casual reader. I hope you are too. If you're an encyclopedia, good. That's fine. I had for you. Yeah. So I believe his name is Dr. Sika. Anyhow, he's almost, like, at the point where they're like he's the one behind all of it. It's been him all along, and that's kind of like what they've been trying to get you to think the whole time. They've been trying to get you to suspect him the whole time, but at the same time, you're almost like, you almost want to believe him because he seems so unassuming. So, like, this has been going on since issue 1 of this graphic novel. But and like I said, it all ties together in the end. But the ending what you end up finding out in the ending, issues 10 through 12 do everything. They deliver. And for me, I gotta cut myself off here, because I'm trying to get people to read something that really hit me in the feels. And so I don't want to spoil anymore. What I can honestly say is this is a Batman title about the detective work. There is a very emotional, very heartfelt, what do you want to call it? Like a metaphorical moment that's really cool at the end of the last arc. But great ending, great, just a great graphic novel all around. I'm really glad that I didn't spoil it for myself. I highly recommend you go out and get the trade paperback version of it or the hardcover when that's out. Just get it. It's so good. It's probably the best Batman related thing I've read in probably about 10 years. So I really enjoyed this, and Batman Dark Patterns was a hit, along with almost everything else I showed today. So it was about 42 issues altogether. That's pretty good for me, especially this last month. But anyhow, so that kind of concludes the show. I definitely got some more titles coming up real soon. This is kind of scaled back to maybe a once every 2 weeks to once a month thing for me. I'm just trying to have fun with this and just kind of weighing on what I'm reading and trying to keep it a little bit more current, not wait so long on stuff. So I hope this has been a little bit more entertaining and more useful to you if you are kind of looking into some stuff. I'll try to tag everything and But anyhow, this has been Drum Boy Reads Slow. I really appreciate if you made it this far into the video. If you did not, well, then I guess you can't. I get blah 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 blah. I don't like you then. No, I'm just kidding. Anyone who takes the time to watch me or any other comic commentator, honestly, they're probably telling the truth. If they're saying something's good, they're probably telling the truth. It might be a medium, stuck in neutral, or maybe it's just ready to break down and stop being a thing. But honestly, I actually really appreciate what's been coming out lately, and that surprises me. Because if you would have asked say the guy who owns the shop or any of his employees when I first started going back into comic book stores, you asked them about the modern stuff coming out, what's good, and they honestly nothing. They'd say nothing, and I was like, that can't be right. And yeah, I picked up a few dud titles in the beginning, but honestly, for the most part, there's been almost nothing that I haven't liked, and on some level, or maybe I don't want to follow something till the very last issue, but getting those first 12 to 20 issues in of some of these titles hasn't hurt me at all, and if anything, it's opened my eyes and made me feel more creative. And even something as silly as another Ironman reboot. It's cool. It's physical media. It gets me off my phone. And you know what? We all could use a little more time off our phones and getting back into the real world. So, thank you again. You've been watching. I'm going to try not to dump any of my comics on the floor as I get them back into the house. This is Drum Boy Reads Slow, and I'll see you next time for the next episode of the Drum Boy Reads Slow Show. Peace.